This video is supported by one of the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange platforms, Bybit.com. Sign up today and get up to $1,000 in bonuses and coupons. You can also join a $400,000 trading competition along with other contests where you can win Bitcoin prizes and so much more. Just go to bybit.jasonsherman.org to sign up. That's bybit.jasonsherman.org. Hello world, Jay Sherm here. In today's episode of Future Tech, I want to talk about drones. Now, I know drones are already a part of our life, so maybe it's not so futuristic, but they have been out only for a handful of years for people like me, for hobbyists and whatnot. And even though years ago when I was making my first documentary, I did have to get my FAA certification. I had to pass a class and everything to get my government certification to be legally allowed to fly. It has changed the landscape in terms of film and video, but also a lot of other things. You might have read stories of people who have been rescued by drones, or drones have dropped off supplies, whether medical supplies or whatnot, in remote locations. I even used a drone once years ago to try to find a lost dog in a forest in the middle of nowhere that an animal rescue company hired me to do. So, I mean, that's a great way to use a drone to find and rescue people or animals. And of course, we've all seen movies or heard of drones that have been flying around the world to find and destroy terrorist cells and terrorist organizations by flying drones in these areas without putting soldiers and humans at risk. So drones are very effective for many different things, but I want to give you guys a couple of examples of where drones might be headed in the future that we take for granted now, but we might start seeing it in the near future once regulations maybe ease up, especially when Amazon and Google in particular, once they complete the next evolution of drones in deliveries, right? Because we've all been making fun of or talking about, or I've seen videos and memes online about drones delivering your pizza and drones delivering your packages. But imagine you're hosting, say, a Thanksgiving dinner at your family's house or your house, and everyone's sitting down to eat, or everyone's preparing the meal, or whatever it is, and a lot of stores are either closed or it's too late to get out there because you don't want to drive, etc. And you realize, oops, forgot sweet potatoes, forgot cranberries, forgot this, that, and the other thing. And all of a sudden you realize, well, wait a minute, I can quickly go on this Amazon app or whatever app is available, order whatever I need, and within an hour, a drone can fly down to your doorstep and drop off what it is you need. Or even better yet, let's say you're a single mom and you have a newborn child, just a couple months old, and it's 3 o'clock in the morning and your baby wakes up crying and the baby has a fever and you don't know what to do because it's 3 o'clock in the morning. It's too late to drive to the pharmacy, or the pharmacy's too far away and you don't have anyone to help. You're by yourself. So what do? You go on the app, you order the medication or the, over-the-counter meds you need for your child, or maybe you ran out of baby food and you didn't know, you forgot, you were so tired, so busy. Whatever it is, you can order it quickly on an app, have it delivered to your doorstep by a drone within 30 minutes or less, and you don't have to even leave your house. I mean, that's the power of what drones could do safely, of course, in really tough situations where you're kind of strapped for time, or maybe you don't have a car. Maybe you can't get to the pharmacy, or you don't have a friend who's going to drive to your house at 3 o'clock in the morning and pick you up and your baby to go to the pharmacy, So these are the types of things that I think are going to start happening in the near future. Now, everyone knows ambulances are our main source of rescue when someone is having a heart attack or needs to get to a hospital very quickly. But with drones, theoretically, we can bring the hospital to the patient, and very quickly, because you can get a drone somewhere over buildings flying at 50 plus miles per hour, even faster, some of them, and you can maneuver between all sorts of different obstacles to get to that patient quickly using GPS on their phone, for example. So you know exactly where they are, whereas an ambulance has to drive through traffic, an ambulance has to figure out where the patient is, an ambulance has to deal with possibly getting into an accident, an ambulance has to deal with lots of factors, right? A drone can just cut through all of that and get right to the patient within minutes. So let's say you're out in public and you see someone having a heart attack and there's a crowd gathering. You call 911 for this person. A drone gets dispatched and gets to the patient within minutes. The drone has a screen on it. The screen is showing an EMT who's talking through a speaker on the drone. So the EMT is kind of there, right? It's a real person. It's not an AI. It's not a cartoon. And everyone around can listen to the EMT and talk to the EMT as if the EMT is there. And there's even a built-in defibrillator on the drone. Or maybe there's crucial medicine, maybe there's insulin or whatever if the patient is having anaphylaxis shock or something and you need adrenaline or whatever it is. And then the bystanders will be able to perform tasks using the drone until the EMT or the ambulance actually gets there. If it's life or death and it's a matter of 5 or 10 minutes and there are bystanders and the EMT is instructing them how to use the devices on the drone or the medicine on the drone, somebody can get involved. Or if there's no one around, the person that's being, having shock or whatever their problem is, they can probably move enough to use a device on the drone as well. So just imagine the amount of time that can be saved. And most of these things, whether it's a stroke, a heart attack, anaphylaxis, or whatever it is, these things usually are a matter of minutes that result in the person dying or becoming paralyzed or becoming a vegetable or anything, right? It's always a matter of minutes. And that's where a drone can cut through and get those things done really quickly. And the last thing where drones really excel, and everybody knows this by now, surveillance. We've seen in the news and all over TV and movies where people have been flying drones over people's houses and disrupting their privacy, trying to catch people naked in their houses or in their swimming pools. And people have even shot down drones from their backyards because, hey, you're invading my space, right? And people have flown into airspace and people have flown over airports and people have flown in places they shouldn't have gone, restricted areas, right? And that's why there's so many restrictions when you're flying a drone. If you know about drones, like when I try to fly my drone and it's restricted and I'm in an area that's restricted, my drone won't take off. I have to go online and actually fill out a form I use a DJI Mavic drone. So I have to go online on DJI's website, fill out a form, let them know I want to fly and film around this radius. And I have to choose a radius with coordinates and submit that. They have to approve it. And then I can go to that area and it'll let me take off and fly and film what I need. But let's talk about surveillance, right? Surveillance is a big deal. Cameras on streets are great. But whenever you see a helicopter hovering in your neighborhood, you know they're looking for somebody, right? But helicopters fly really high. They're much higher than maybe even 1,000 feet. Drones can fly 10 feet, 20, 100, 200. They can fly right over houses. They can fly below, right on top of cars, and they can maneuver through backyards and all sorts of, even inside buildings, right? So you can really find people who are doing the wrong thing, whether they're bank robbers or murderers or rapists or whatever they're doing, right? You can really find these people quickly with drones, whereas a camera is a fixed location and a helicopter is a very far away location. A drone is that happy medium where you can do maneuverability, you can get really good camera. And let's say if they did this, for example, let's say there was a police drone, right? Let's say a bunch of bank robbers just robbed a bank and they get in the getaway car or they're on foot and they're running with the bags of money and out comes a drone with sirens and lights, and then the guys are like, oh no, there's a cop, right? Well, no, it's a drone, but there could be a cop on a speaker saying, shh, pull over or stop running. You're under arrest, freeze, whatever, right? The cop could actually be talking to them. And if they don't stop, they could shoot a taser from the drone to incapacitate these people, right? I mean, that's just crazy if they could do something like that, right? Because then think about it this way. You're not putting cops in harm's way. You're able to get to them much quicker because once again, you got to deal with traffic and cop cars and all that stuff, right? So these drones could really be saving lives in a lot of ways. They could be stopping a lot of people from doing the wrong thing. And if you had drones patrolling neighborhoods on a regular basis, imagine if every so often a drone randomly swoops by your neighborhood and is just with its camera, it's checking the neighborhood, making sure no one's, robbing anyone or attacking anyone or, trying to break into a house. If these drones were patrolling neighborhoods, they'd be a lot safer, because as soon as a drone sees something suspicious, or, they hear someone screaming or whatever, it can fly right over and the police will be seeing what's going on, and then police can show up. So much help could be had by doing this. Not to mention drones patrolling the coasts for sharks. And if people are swimming, the drone could go on loudspeaker with a siren and say, shark, 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 or whatever. And people could quickly get out of the water. So there's so many benefits to having drones surveil the streets, the waters, or maybe even in the woods. If you're, hiking in the woods and there are drones looking for bears or wolves, or if you're in the jungle and there's lions and tigers and bears, oh my. But seriously, if you have these wild animals and you're in these remote locations and drones can see them from the air and alert you, you will be much safer. And these are just some of the things drones can do. I'm sure there's going to be so many more in the future. Getting medicine to people that if you're stuck in the mountain and you were hiking and you fell, and somebody can dispatch a drone to your GPS location on your phone quickly and get you medicine or help. There's so many things that drones can do that people just can't do. And I'm really looking forward to seeing, where this heads in the next 10, 20 years. I'm curious what you think about drones, where you think they're headed. What kind of utility will they have to help humans in society? And leave them in the comments for me. And as always, thanks for listening, and I will see you in next week's episode.